Tweet at @ABloomer11 and hashtag Alexis Live. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your host, the beautiful and talented Alexis Bloomer.
Everybody, and welcome to Alexis Bloomer Live. Today's a really exciting day because we kind of have the two different spectrums. We have someone that was a professional tie-down roper and 8-time world champion. Fred Whitfield's coming on in a little bit to talk about his new book, Gold Buckles Don't Lie. And then first, we have a special guest coming on with us, Hayden Moss. And he's actually one of the finalists in Survivor right now. So it's really cool. And also he won Big Brother. So pretty much he's just all around good at game shows. But without further ado, please welcome Hayden Moss. We're glad you're in Vegas.
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
Can you tell us why you're here actually, so people understand?
Putting the pieces together, yeah. So I grew up rodeoing, and later in the game, my sister ended up getting married to Cliff Cooper. So in a roundabout way, I'm part of, you know, the Cliff Cooper, Tough Cooper, Clint, Roy Cooper clan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, that's good. Come out here and cheer them on.
Exactly, yeah. Come out here, spend 10 days in Vegas, cheer them on, enjoy Vegas, go to the rodeo. I mean, this is like the best time of year.
Mm-hmm. But you're about to leave, aren't you, and go to LA?
Yeah, so tomorrow I fly to LA for the Survivor finale. It's on the 15th, Sunday evening. Yeah, so they're down to, so this season of Survivor, we're down to 5 people, 6 people that are still alive, and I'm still lucky to be alive.
So guys, basically he's a finalist, so we need to all cheer him on so that he'll win.
Woo! Thank you.
Yeah, well, hey, I haven't got to watch the show very much. I've watched it a few times, but only to watch you, honestly, because I had never watched Survivor before until you were on it. Can you tell us a little bit about the game show and the premise of it, what I guess it's about?
Yeah, so basically they drop off 20 people, they call them castaways, 20 castaways on an island, and they split them into 2 teams, and they have competitions, challenges, where if you win a competition, you kind of gain a little bit of power. If you lose, there's a chance you could get voted off the island by the other castaways. And during this whole time, you're surviving, you're foraging for food, you're fishing, catching fish, and really, there's nothing to eat. Like when I was out there, I lost 25 pounds. I went into the game at 198 pounds, came out at 173. Brutal, it's tough, it's a very tough game. But you know, you're playing for $1 million.
So how many challenges did you win?
So far, we've won a couple.
Okay.
Not enough, actually. I've been playing more of a social game than the physical game so far this season.
Okay, I asked him backstage. I don't know if y'all are like me, but I thought all of it was set up and fake. And I was like, so they drop them off on an island, they have a jet they can just go back to after they're done filming. No, he just told me that it's all real. So when you see people on game shows like Survivor, they're actually out there in the wild.
Well, I can speak for Survivor only. Like I know some of these reality shows are totally scripted and set up, but we were legitimately dropped off on an island. They gave us a few tools. We had a very small bag of rice to last 39 days. And they said, hey, you know, build a shelter, you gotta fish, you gotta catch food, you know, forage for food. Luckily, where we were in the Philippines, we were in this pretty awesome jungle. And there we found some like banana trees, we found there were papaya trees. So we had a little bit of fruit to kind of go hunt for. And then we were also had a Hawaiian sling, like to spearfish with. Yeah. So I'd be out fishing every day, you know, swimming around, fish, gotcha, come home, and then we'd have a fish fry.
What about if you get sick? What happens?
Tough luck.
Really?
I mean, there's a medical team on staff, but if you get sick, I mean, you can get pulled out of the game, but then you're not going to win $1 million.
What if something happens, like someone gets attacked by something?
Again.
Sorry, I'm just wondering what's going to happen.
Tough luck. I mean, if you're out there, I mean, you're in the wilderness. I mean, it's legit wilderness. I mean, there's snakes, monkeys around. Yeah. Okay, the wildlife we saw were water buffalo. Yeah. We saw snakes, we saw a few monkeys, some exotic birds, and then tons of marine life. Yeah. You know, up in the reef, they're everything from stingrays, we saw some sharks, octopus, like you name it, everything. Like it was this unbelievable reef, completely untouched by man. It was amazing.
That's awesome. How do they get to go out there? Like, how do they pick their locations?
Well, I actually don't know the whole process, but they have a full-time staff that is constantly scouting locations year-round. So like right now, they already have locations for the following 2 seasons.
Wow.
And then as soon as they start filming those 2 seasons, they'll find the following seasons. It's a year-round process for finding and scouting locations. Can you imagine having that job, by the way? Like,
that'd be awesome.
Getting to go travel tropical places and just kind of, oh yeah, this island's beautiful, this beach is awesome, let's snorkel. Like,
that would be amazing.
It'd be a cool job.
How did you get cast then? I guess how do they choose the people that are going to be on their Survivor show?
See, I got really lucky. A few years back, I was on a flight going from Dallas to Phoenix, and a woman approached me and said, hey, would you like to be on this game show called Survivor? And at the time, I was kind of in limbo. I had just had a bad knee injury playing baseball in college, and I was like, you know what? Sure, maybe I'll give it a try. I thought she was full of crap, by the way. I was like, nah, who is this woman trying to hit on me or whatever?
Kind of sketch coming up to you asking you to be on a game show.
And then she says, so send me some pictures in the morning and we'll go from there. So I did, and literally that afternoon, they were flying me to LA and said, all right, you're coming out to LA. I went to LA, went through the casting process, and they said, cool, Survivor, you're on, Survivor Nicaragua. This was 3 years ago.
Wow.
And they sent me home. And I thought, okay, cool. About 2 weeks go by, they call me and say, hey, sorry, we're not putting you on Survivor, but we're gonna put you on this other show called Big Brother. And I had never heard of it, didn't know what it was, like had no clue. And then I said, all right, what is it? They said, well, come out to LA, we'll show you. So I flew back to LA, they put me on the show, and I ended up getting lucky enough to win Big Brother. And then a few years later, they called me and said, hey, remember we wanted you to do Survivor? I was like, yeah, well, now's your chance, we want you. So
wow.
They brought me back on.
Are there any similarities between the 2 shows?
The social game, I mean, you're forming alliances, kind of jockeying for a position, trying to avoid getting voted out. And both games are similar that way. And playing Big Brother definitely prepared me for Survivor.
So you must be really good with people. They all must like you a lot, because you did good on Big Brother, and now you're doing good on Survivor. What's your tricks? Tell us your tricks of the trade in case any of these people get cast on Survivor.
Luckily, they paired me up with a lot of people that aren't very smart. So, you know, really if you're a people person and you can kind of talk to somebody and socialize and just not be a jerk, you know, because it's funny, when they cast people for television shows, they want big personalities. And if you can be a big personality and outgoing without being a jerk, you have a pretty good chance to stay for a little while. You know, unfortunately, a lot of those people they do cast, they typecast it. They want that big dumb meathead to come in, and they want the total prick or whatever. They want those guys. They want them to come on and create that drama.
You know, one of my friends, actually, she was on the show. My sorority was on the show, So You Think You Can Dance. And she made it to one of the final rounds, and they said, well, we're not going to pick you for the show. And she's like, well, why not? And they said, your life is boring. There's no controversy. And she didn't want to break up with her boyfriend of 4 years and stuff like that. So when you got on it, how did they pick you? Like, why did they pick you? What about you stood out to them?
When I went on Big Brother, I had hair halfway down my back, like long hair, kind of they cast me as that typical dumb jock, is the way I was cast. Because again, they typecast, so they're like, okay, we need an athletic guy that's whatever. And I happened to fit the appearance they were looking for. Yeah, so I got lucky.
Is that why you have this? You had the long hair for the Big Brother game. Now you have the long beard for Survivor. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, it's something like that. That's about right.
Is there a trick to it, like a secret or anything that anybody would?
A secret? No. It's just.
You just want a long beard.
Yeah, I'm just enjoying the flow.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. I like it. I don't know what it is exactly. My mom hates it.
I was gonna say, your mom and me have talked about it a few times. She wants you to shave.
Everybody hates it, but I think that's why I like it.
Well, you kind of look like a mountain man. Are you gonna shave it anytime soon?
Actually, I'm gonna shave tomorrow. I have to shave before I get to LA.
Okay. So what's gonna happen at this party?
Well, the party, there's a Survivor pre-party Saturday night where everybody from the cast, or everybody that was a castaway, we all get together and kind of get to reunite people that like each other, people that don't like each other. It's going to be interesting. There's going to be a lot of drama. And then Sunday is the finale where they'll crown the winner. And then after that, there's another party, and hopefully I'm a millionaire.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
That would help you out too.
It would be awesome.
Well, if you won Survivor, I guess, where could we expect to see you? What would you do with the money you won?
Well, I would honestly keep doing what I'm doing now, so you could see me back in Vegas again next year.
Yeah.
Really, I wouldn't change anything that I'm doing right now already.
Nothing. You don't know what you do?
I really don't think it would change anything. I can't. I mean, we would take a vacation.
Yeah.
You know, me and the family would probably go to, somewhere in the Caribbean. You know, that's what we did after I won Big Brother. We took a Caribbean vacation. We all went to the Bahamas.
That's awesome.
That was great.
So can we expect to see you on another, I guess, reality show?
Maybe.
Which one, if you could pick one to go on, which one would you pick?
Amazing Race would be awesome. And I think there's a chance of that. But then also Big Brother All-Stars will probably be this next summer. And I think I have a pretty good chance. I'm pretty sure they're going to ask me to do it.
Yeah.
If I'm in a place in life where I can do it, we'll see.
You think you'd win?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us any secrets? Okay, how many of you guys want to know if you won? Because I want to know. Everybody wants to know if you won. Can you tell us any secrets, anything that we can expect?
I can't give away any results.
Well, that's
but
okay.
if you have any questions, like how the game is played, behind the scenes, like interviews, all that stuff, I mean, I'm an open book. I'll tell you everything I can tell you.
Okay, so why is it called Blood versus Water?
So Blood versus Water. Basically, this season there was a theme where they brought back a returning player and their loved one. And it's the first time ever in Survivor where there have been pairs. And some pairs are blood related and some pairs are water related. For example, there are mother-daughters, that's a blood relationship. And then there's boyfriend-girlfriend, that's like a water type relationship. And the original theme was, hey, we're gonna pit all of these loved ones against each other and kind of see what relationships are the strongest, blood or water. Yeah, they're evil. They're evil.
Oh my gosh,
like,
that would be difficult. And your girlfriend was on the show.
My girlfriend was on the show with me.
Yes, and she's not on anymore, is she?
No, unfortunately no. She made it about halfway through.
Halfway. So who are you with now? Who are you paired with?
So right now in the game, Sierra and I have an alliance. She's the teen mom. Crazy girl, she's a flip-flopper, backstabber. She already stabbed me in the back one time this season. If not, we would be in a better position.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm kind of in limbo. I'm fighting, scrapping, trying to stay alive right now.
So what's the game plan for you going forward?
To win.
I know you're gonna win.
So this next episode, I have to win a challenge to get back in the game. So first and foremost, win the challenge. If I get back in, then just kind of win again. It's like I'm to the point where you have to win challenges to move on.
So what are the challenges? Like what it consists of, I guess? Because it's kind of difficult. I don't really know.
There's all kinds of different challenges. There's like mental challenges, physical challenges, skill challenges, endurance. I mean, it's a lot of puzzles. And the way they set up the challenges is, first of all, Survivor, the characters they cast, they can be women in their mid to late 50s. They can be men in their young 20s. So the challenges have to be equalizing, where a woman that's 55 years old can compete with a 25-year-old jock.
Yeah.
You know, so the challenges aren't going to be, we're not going to go out there and have a push-up competition anytime soon, but they are going to be balancing like kind of puzzle challenges where anybody has a chance to win.
That's great. Well,
not so much. I would prefer a push-up competition.
Yeah, I know. Of course you would. But hey, you're not the dumb jock, obviously. You're smart and you're playing it smart. So hopefully we'll see you win.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Well, everybody, we're going to cheer him on, aren't we? When I guess this weekend, we're going to cheer him on for sure. And good luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on here.
Of course, yeah. Well, here, everybody give him one more round of applause.
Thank you.
And you will be, did you bring autograph hats?
No, I did not.
No, it's okay. Well, make sure that you guys cheer on Cliff Cooper. Come by and say hi to Hayden. Wish him luck because this weekend he's going to find out if he won Survivor. So thank you so much, Hayden.
Thank you very much.
And now, guys, don't go anywhere because we have Fred Whitfield coming up to talk to us about Gold Buckles Don't Lie. So real quick, I'd like to welcome Fred. You can come on out. He's like hiding behind the curtain. He had to run over here from another autograph signing. You okay there? How are you? I saw that. Hey, it's okay. No big deal. So you're back in Vegas. Viva Las Vegas. How's it been so far?
Back in Las Vegas. You know, I've had the most fun the last, heck, I don't even know, 10 days, I guess. Because I got here the Monday prior to it starting. It's been pretty hectic, and, you know, I'm not competing this year, and didn't really set out to try to make the national finals. Started in June, thought I'd go a little while. If it worked out, fine. If not, and it didn't. So I'm out here promoting my book, and I've run across a lot of great people this week. Just glad to be here.
Has it been hard being here and not competing?
No, not really. You know, I told my wife the other day when I rolled into town, I said, this may be the first year that I've been out here not roping, and I hadn't been upset at all. I watched a couple perfs live. You know, I'm pretty content with it.
Yeah. Hey, you've had your run though. You've had a great career, a huge career, 8-time world champion. So let's talk about your book a little bit. It just came out not too long ago, Gold Buckles Don't Lie.
We actually released the book in August. It was, I think, right around the 28th.
And everybody's loved it. You sent me a copy of it. I was so excited, guys, because I got back to my apartment and they said, you have a package. I walk in there and I open it up and I'm like, oh my gosh, she sent me a book and signed it. How cool is that? So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
The book's amazing though. I've really enjoyed reading it. And it tells a lot of detailed stories of your childhood, of your climb to the top. Let's start in the beginning though. Let's talk about the beginning of the book a little bit. It talks about your childhood, and you kind of grew up in a different environment.
Well, I really did, you know, and the thing about it is we weren't very wealthy. You know, my mom worked 2 or 3 jobs, worked at an oil company, and she did anything from take care of the kids to clean the house to run errands, just doing whatever it took to make ends meet. And my dad, you know, he was around till I was probably about 9 years old, if my memory serves me right, and it's in the book. But, you know, they had a pretty rocky relationship. My dad ran around a lot. He drank all the time. And, you know, it was just an environment that was unhealthy for almost, I want to say, mice to live in, you know. And them suckers, when they hear you raise your voice, they scatter. And, you know, they would fight a lot at night and stuff. And I would lay awake in bed and cry and, you know, just wish that I could get out of the situation. And started roping at about 7, you know, just playing with it. And I'd go over every day after grade school and hang out with a guy named Roy Moffett, and he's in the book. And, you know, so I started going over there, and then I'd go home late at night and, you know, the same thing over and over and over again. And one time my mom, she just got fed up with it, and one night he came home drunk, and she just pulled out a gun and shot him like 6 times right in front of me. And, you know, we had to deal with that, me and my brother. And I got actually 2 other sisters too that I've never talked about, but we all sit there and we witness stuff like that go on. And I just decided at a young age that I had to find a way to get out of the situation, you know, and live there a few more years. And my dad actually went to prison. And so he was away for about 8 years. And so once he got locked up, you know, things changed a little. And I don't think my mom ever dated much, but we had a lot of peace around the house.
It's crazy that you overcame that though, and that you're such a good father today. Do you think that had any influence with raising your children?
You know, I know it's had an influence. And, you know, my wife and I have been married for next April will be 15 years. We have 2 daughters. They're 10 and 13 years old. And we hardly ever raise our voice at each other. And I think the only time we do argue, and most guys will agree to this or attest to this, it's over money. She's telling me I'm spending too much of it. That's the only time we have a disagreement. But back to the story, you know, I learned a lot, you know, from my childhood and the things I went through. There's a certain way you treat any and everybody. And, I mean, it's the way I want to be treated. And I've just tried to mold myself in being a genuine and sincere person.
And you've done a great job of it. Look at the people here today listening to your story. Why did you choose to finally write a book about an autobiography, I guess? No cowboys really have an autobiography.
Well, I mean, I've said it a million times, and I don't want it to become cliche. There's just a lot of things that I had bottled up inside of me that I needed to release and let go. And I have a co-writer, and we started working on this project. Excuse me, we started working on it right after the National Finals in 2010, and it took us about 2.5 years, and we went to some pretty big publishing companies and we pitched it to them, and nobody bid on it. So in the percentages that they were talking, I really didn't care for. And my wife and I, we sat down and we're at a pretty good point in our life, you know, to where we could kind of afford to do it. And so we self-published, and it's probably been one of the greatest things that I've ever done in my life. And just to sit and watch this thing just take off like this, you know, I knew it would be successful if we worked at it, but the success that we've had in the last few weeks, it's just been phenomenal. It's almost overwhelming to both of us, and we don't really have enough people in place right now to take care of it, but we're working on getting some people so we can get them shipped out and stuff, and I'm just thankful, you know, that it's all come to fruition.
Did you ever imagine that your book would be this successful?
You know, not really, no, honestly, because we had been doing okay just since we released it, and things were going good, and we were tickled to death just to sell a few, and then all of a sudden you show up to Las Vegas, and I can't sign them fast enough or get them shipped out fast enough, and I stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning signing books. My wife and Kristen, they're up at 6 o'clock every morning, headed to the post office to ship another 300 or 400 off from sales coming in over the internet. So it's been overwhelming, but it's been a positive overwhelming.
That's a good problem to have, though. Definitely.
It's a great problem to have. And you know, the thing about this story is it's inspiring in so many different ways. You know, there's a lot of people that go through a lot of things, and I'm not the only guy that's got a story. But you know, you got to put it in paper, and like over the years, you know, I've run into millions of people in my lifetime, and rodeo fans are the most loyal and the greatest people you can ever run across in your lifetime, and I mean that.
You know, Fred, one time when I interviewed you on my radio show, actually, I was having a really rough week, and this can attest the type of guy he is. I was having a terrible week, and I was like, my goodness, is anything gonna go my way? And then Fred, I talked to him, and he completely changed my week. He turned it around, and you kind of were that person for me that week, you know, that made my week a positive week because you told your story.
Well, thank you, you know, and that's the thing about it is you never know what anybody's thinking. And I mean, you can walk by people, and he can be having a bad day, just a simple hello. Hey, how are you? What's going on in your world? And you know, I've been wanting to say this for a long time. I was a little elusive at times, but I think that people have to be that way in order to stay on top. It's not being arrogant. You just have to be different. I mean, I could name several guys here, and a lot of people don't like them. I was the world's worst. I got to meet Charles Barkley about 1986, and I despise that guy. I run into him one night. We were out wherever we were, and he had women all around him, and I was like, hey man, how are you? He blew me off. I was like, who the hell does he think he is? And now listen, about, it's probably been 7 years ago, I was sitting right over there at the Kraft Steakhouse in the MGM, and a guy walks up to me, and he said, hey, I'm with Charles Barkley, they have a room back here in the back. He'd like for you to come over and join us for dinner. Well, you know, I'm in Fred's little world. He's got 15 people with him, and I got 5 or 6 following me around. And it was Doug Farr, Brittany Posey, my wife, Curtis Peterson, his wife, about 7 or 8 of us. And he just welcomed us to the table. We sat down, ate whatever we wanted. Little Brittany Posey, she ordered a lobster that weighed about 8 pounds. Couldn't even eat it. We got up from there, y'all, and left. And he said, come on, Whitfield. He said, go gamble with us. We take off and we go sit down. He said, what do you like to play? And I said, man, I'll probably play some blackjack. He said, how much are you gonna bet? And I said, well, I'm not gonna bet a lot. This guy pulled out $250,000 cash. We were in awe. So we sat down at the table, and every once in a while I'd put a couple of hundred on top of his 20,000 he was betting. And so we sat there all night, and towards the end of the night I drank quite a bit and had to rope the next morning. I said, Chuck, I gotta go, bro. So I got up, I stood up, and they'd been bringing us a table full of lemon drops, this, Crown Royal, whatever. I was like, whoa, I've had too much to drink. So when I got ready to leave, he said, hey, I'm gonna come check you out in the morning, practicing. I got up about 9 o'clock, cruised about 8 miles outside of town over here, gonna rope. Felt horrible. I get the horses, the guys get the horses saddled, get the calves pinned. Big black limo pulls up. Guess who steps out? Charles Barkley. Been up gambling all night, but told me he was gonna come watch me practice the next morning. Got on one of my horses, rode him around. I run 6 or 7 calves, flank and tied a little bit. took some pictures. All right, man. And you know what? We've been the best of friends since then. But I judged that guy in whatever year it was. And I'm talking about did not like him. And now we talk every once in a while. And that's back to my story. You know, you should never judge somebody till you know them.
Wow, that's a crazy story. I've never heard that story too, so that's pretty cool.
And, I mean, he's even come out here and watched me compete at the National Finals, you know, and they put the camera on him, and he's an exciting guy. And he said, you know what, I had a lot of respect for football players till I started coming to the National Finals Rodeo. He said, you guys are the real heroes.
Yeah, and y'all are a whole new level of athletes too.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Y'all have to take care of horses.
Yeah.
Athletes just have to go out there and show up.
Well, and that's the thing about it too is, and I mean, I don't want to step on nobody's toes, but them guys, they sign contracts for $100 million, $80 million, $11 million signing bonus, and we got to get in the truck and drive 2,000 miles, have a chance to win $1,700 riding a $100,000 horse.
Yeah,
a little bit of difference there, ain't it?
Not to mention, you guys have to practice and everything else. So when people say that rodeo is not a sport, I kind of just laugh at them because that's probably the most ignorant comment you can make, because y'all practice just like a regular athlete. You compete just like a regular athlete. Y'all just don't get paid enough.
Here's two things that you touch on when somebody says that. So, okay, when you get in the truck, and just like I just said, when I get in my truck, I just got a new one the other day, and I'm sure it costs well over $60,000. Got a trailer that's just so-so, and I'm sure it costs $90,000. Then I got a little horse at home that I just turned down a lot of money for, just say $70,000. Add all that up, get in the truck, go drive, get kicked, turn around, drive another 1,000 miles. We're not guaranteed anything. You know that what cowboys are guaranteed at rodeos? And I'm not cussing rodeo, because rodeo's my life and it's been great to me. We're guaranteed to have a bad calf or a bad steer or a bad run. That's the only thing we're guaranteed.
It's a gamble. That's what rodeo is. It's a gamble every time you get there.
It's the biggest gamble in the world. It's almost like playing roulette.
And you talk about that some in your book too.
I really do. You know, I tried to touch on everything. There's not a lot of pictures in there because I wanted to talk about all the things that I've been through in my life, the ups and downs, and the positive. There's a lot of positive stories in there. First of all, the whole book is positive to me. It just tells a side of me that nobody ever knew.
Hey, you know what? You don't even need pictures, because his book paints pictures for you through its words, because it's like you're almost there when you're reading it. So if you have a chance, check it out. I know you're going to be signing and selling them after.
We brought some, and I'll sign them as soon as the show's over. I'll sit down and personalize them. And the thing about it is, Alexis, is that the stories in this book, they all come together. And I've even had people tell me that were around me in the 80s, the 90s, up until now, that there's scenes in that book that I was living. And it's kind of scary. And I have people call me. I had a kid call me this morning, and he was telling me a little story about somebody that's challenged and having some problems. And I told him that to call me Monday when I got back home, and we'd get together and I'd try to go do something for him. But the thing about it is, at your lowest point, there's somebody somewhere that's worse off than you, no matter how bad it gets.
Well, like we've mentioned several times, this book is very realistic and it's very true to your story and what you've been trying to tell people. Is there a part or chapter that was hard for you to write?
Well, you know, and I told my wife this the other day, and you probably won't believe this. I mean, I was part of the editing and all that stuff, but I've not read that book from cover to cover. And I'm honest about it too. I got on a plane the other day coming home from the World Show, and I decided I was gonna go ahead and read it from cover to cover. And I caught myself sitting on a plane beside somebody that I've never seen in my life, and tears coming out of my eyes because I just don't want to relive it.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you shared it with us, and I know that everybody here can attest for that. Thank you for sharing your story for us.
You're welcome. Thanks, you guys, for coming out. And I've appreciated y'all my whole life, but even more so now that, you know, I could probably make the finals again, and not to take nothing away from anybody that's ever swung a rope, but the thing that I'm blessed with, or the good Lord blessed me, is I was able to be a part of something that I love for so long. And all good things come to an end sooner or later.
You deserve that round of applause, definitely. And I know it's hard for you to tell your story and stuff, but you never know, that could touch a kid's life. You could change someone's life.
That's what it's all about. You know, I keep going back to one thing about that book. I mean, if somebody wakes up and they're thinking about doing something crazy, just pick my story up. I mean, I come from nothing, man, and I could have made bad choices and been in jail and done this and done that. But there was always a light at the end of my tunnel. It just took me a long time to get to that point in my life, that's all.
The rope saved you, didn't it?
Yeah, you dang right it saved me.
And your beautiful wife, where's she at?
She's sitting right out there.
Oh, hey. They are the greatest couple there is, guys. They support each other through thick and thin, so it's pretty amazing. You talk about that in your book, too.
I do. You know, I met Cassie in 1997 after the National Finals, and she was in Texas on business, and for whatever reason, you know, it came together and pretty fast because I'd been in a relationship since my rookie year, and it didn't end the way I wanted to, and I wasn't really on the rebound. I was arrogant, rude, hard to be around, because I got my heart broke, you know, and I just, at the time, I wasn't looking to get involved, and you know, I knew after about 3.5, 4 months that I'd run across the right person.
You know, in this book, I keep going back to it because when I read it, guys, I got the book and I started reading it in class, and my teacher was like, hey, you need to put that book down. You know we're having class right now. I literally read probably the first 200 pages within an hour. I couldn't put it down. I was sitting there, I was like, oh my gosh. Because she said, me too. And you know it's crazy. You didn't think your book would have this impact on people, but we're finally getting to see the rodeo life through someone's eyes. No one's gave us this insight before your book.
Well, and that's true. You know, there's been guys that have written stuff, and you know, it's mainly been pictures, and I don't want to call nobody's name because if it worked for them, I'm proud for them. But like I said, I just wanted to get it out there, and you know, I knew my story someday would be unique. I didn't think that it would go over like it has. But the thing about it is, guys, it's real. And that's hard to find in today's society. You know, we all focus on the negative. You know, the worse the news, the more we like it. That's just not me. I've never been that way. And to put it in small terms, I'm old school, you know. If I look you in the eye and shake your hand, you got a deal.
That's a great quality to have. And you know, you say that people like the fictional stuff. I don't like that. I mean, I want to know the real stuff. And you're giving us details. You're even telling us people you didn't like, people you got in arguments with.
Well, I left out names because I didn't want to go through my life battling lawsuits, but it's all in there. I hope you pick it up and read it. You know, I've got a lot of plans left in my lifetime, and whether it's rodeoing or, you know, the thing that I enjoyed the most out of this year, and it's gone by too quick, really. It's being home, being with my girls. You know, Savannah's playing volleyball and stuff, and they're 10 and 13 years old, and it's time for me to hang a little closer to home. I've said it this year, I said it the year before, and you know, I need to have some presence in their life because right now they're being molded into young ladies, and with me going off on the road all the time and in and out, I mean, I've done that for 25 years, so it's just time for me to stay home and be a dad. And like I said, I told Cassie last summer, I said, I'll go for about 30 days, but I said, you're gonna load up in the truck and go with me. If y'all don't go, I ain't going.
Good point. So I have a question real quick, because every dad probably is wondering this out there. What is Fred Whitfield's game plan for the teenage years of your daughters?
We're already running into that. We were actually sitting at a Mexican food place about 2 weeks ago, you know, discussing how things were gonna go when we got ready to leave and come out here. And you know, my daughter don't ever talk to me about boys because I've already told her. I said, honey, if you meet somebody and you're a little unsure about him, I said, just bounce it off Dad because I'm that guy. I know what he's after, okay? So if he's slick enough to get by the two of us, then he's pretty good. He may get by you, but he can't get around Daddy. And so we're sitting in Alicia's Mexican food place, and my wife and we're sitting on one side and the girls were sitting on the other side. And my wife asked Savannah, she said, so has Jonathan texted you lately? I said, why haven't I heard about Jonathan? I said, no ma'am. We're not having no secret Jonathans. I said, I'm Jonathan. I need to meet him.
Secret Jonathans, okay. You sound a lot like my dad right now.
Can you blame him?
It's scary though. It sounds That's hilarious. I've known him since I was a little girl.
The thing about it is there's so much scandalous stuff on the phones nowadays, and my daughter got a iPhone 5 the other day, and all that sexting and texting and tweeting and Instagramming and all that. Look, we didn't have that when we were kids. We could ride down to the 7-Eleven and be gone from daylight till dark, and I mean, my mom wasn't worried about somebody coming by picking us up, you know, some sicko watching us, grabbing us, taking off with us. I mean, it was just normal, and the thing about it is the world's changed so much, and I'm so protective of them girls. It's almost at times like they're in jail.
Hey, you know what? I'd rather have a dad like that than a dad that doesn't care. Any day, honestly. Because my dad, let me tell you, if a guy comes over, my dad guaranteed he'd probably shake his hand and break it, or he'd scare him to death. So, hey, nothing wrong with that. And now that I'm older, I appreciate that.
Well, and that's another thing too, you know, I preach to my girls and my wife too, or she helps me with it, but you know, the number one thing is go and get you a good education. Don't worry about no boys. Hey, they will come in time. And when you're educated and you're proud of what you've done, you know, and you're all this and all that, then the guys are gonna come. And that's one thing too about me. I was never interested in girls all throughout high school. I didn't even take a girl to the senior prom because she ticked me off. I was going somewhere one night and she called and I was like, yeah, I gotta go to this roping. She said, well, we're having a party tonight and I gotta go. I said, go, see you. I'm going to rope.
Well, we're so glad you chose to rope instead. Let's give him a round of applause, guys.
Thanks you guys for coming out. I really appreciate it.
And be sure, right there, he's going to be selling books and signing them. Go get one for Christmas. Give it for your loved one. I promise you will not regret it. But real quick before you leave, I want to give a big round of applause to my Alexis Bloomer Live models. Can you please welcome Sammy Jensen, Krista Sewell,
hey girls,
and Julie Martinez. Y'all guys can come up here, yeah. And then also, I'm gonna give a big round of applause because the National Junior High President, Colin, if you'd stand up, he's here joining us today too. So big round of applause to them. And they're all wearing Rock and Roll Cowgirl, so be sure to go check out their booth right there. And also one more round of applause for the incredible Fred Whitfield.
Thank you
so much. I appreciate it.